You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Okay, if you're trying to get anyone's attention these days, clients, customers, whoever, it feels like you're drinking from a fire hose, right? Just strategy overload.
Oh, absolutely. Every single week there's like a new AI thing, another social media algorithm goes sideways.
Or some big shift in how people actually buy things. And just when you think you've got the playbook figured out, boom, rules change.
Yeah.
Here on The Vocal Technologist, we track this stuff constantly, and even we get whiplash sometimes. It's moving so fast.
It really is.
So look, forget the endless doom scrolling. We've actually pulled together what we think are the most critical signals from recent findings, really trying to cut through all that chatter.
Exactly. The mission here is, well, pretty straightforward. Give you, the listener, a kind of knowledge shortcut. We're going to break down everything from, where generative AI is actually failing tactically to some pretty weird behavioral economics behind buying decisions. The idea is this analysis helps founders, helps marketers kind of restructure how they approach things in this new world. The one defined by AI and this need for real authenticity.
Okay, let's definitely unpack that, starting with, well, the giant digital elephant in the room, AI.
Right.
Specifically, this surprising data showing that, your team's shiny new AI tools, they might actually be making things less effective.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's this rise of what people are calling the Workslop problem.
Workslop, okay.
Yeah. We all jumped on the promise of, super fast content generation, right? But the data's pretty clear. Speed without actual judgment. It just creates, well, expensive garbage.
Give us the numbers on that, because they really paint a picture of, like, internal sabotage almost.
They really do. So get this. Last month, over 40% of full-time U.S. employees got AI-generated content that, it looked fine.
It looked professional.
Totally. Right tone, right format. But crucially, it just failed to actually move the task forward. It didn't have the context or the judgment needed to be actually useful. And this Workslop, it accounts for something like 15.4% of the total work being passed around between colleagues.
Wait, hold on. So it's not just that we're wasting, 15% of our time fixing bland AI drafts?
Yeah.
We're actively damaging trust inside our own teams when we send this stuff around.
Precisely. Sending Workslop, it has a real measurable negative hit on how people see you. Roughly half the people who got it saw the sender as less reliable.
Wow.
And 42% saw them as less trustworthy. And the reason it fails isn't always just factual errors, right? It's the lack of relevant context or, strategic insight.
Okay.
AI is great at summarizing stuff, pulling things together, but it's frankly terrible at making those nuanced judgment calls that really define professional work.
Yeah.
So if you're just using AI for volume without a really strong human quality check, you're basically undermining your own credibility with the people you work with.
That has some serious implications for how teams are even structured. And speaking of structure, this AI wave means the whole labor market is just reshaping itself, isn't it?
It is massively. About 85% of U.S. professionals are looking at having like a quarter of their skills fundamentally changed by AI.
A quarter. Wow.
Yeah, and we've already seen basic AI literacy double 100% growth in just the past year. So the old way, the specialist playbook, one person for SEO, one for ads, one for email,
Yeah.
kind of broken.
Okay, so this is where that idea of the gen marketer fits in, right? But isn't that, I don't know, counterintuitive? Don't you need deep expertise in technical stuff like SEO or ad optimization?
That's a really good question. So the gen marketer, it's not someone who knows everything. They're an AI-powered generalist.
Ah, okay.
Their specialty is blending actual human creativity, the strategic why, with mastering these new tools. They need to know how to prompt AI effectively, where it makes sense to use it, and maybe most importantly, how to spot and filter out that work slop we talked about. It really means rethinking marketing teams, not structuring by channel anymore, but maybe more by project, using that combined skill set to build, the company's actual edge.
And they definitely need those skills to survive what you call the zero-click world, which arguably is maybe the biggest visibility challenge AI has thrown at us.
Exactly. Optimization isn't just about ranking on Google anymore. Those search results pages. AI assistants, they just give you one of two outcomes. Either they cite you as the authority, the answer, or you're basically invisible.
Ouch.
Yeah, like a traditional press release might hit #1 on Google search, great. But if an AI system like ChatGPT or something doesn't see it as a citable, definitive answer, it just ignores it completely.
Okay, so tactically then, What makes content something an AI assistant will cite? What does that look like?
You really have to tweak your content mechanics. We're talking about things like creating schema-rich FAQs.
Well, hold on. Schema-rich FAQs.
What?
For listeners maybe not deep in the metadata weeds, can you break that down quickly? What is that?
Yeah, absolutely. So think of schema as like specific labels you put on your website content. Metadata designed to tell search engines and AI exactly what the information is, not just what it says.
Okay.
So a schema-rich FAQ section clearly tags, this is the question, this is the answer. So the AI instantly gets it. It makes the content machine readable, basically.
Gotcha. And semantic headlines.
Yeah, similar idea. Headlines that clearly, explicitly state the topic and the intent. No clever clickbait, just super clear, focused language so the AI can instantly tell if it's relevant.
That brings up a really interesting tension, though. If AI makes it easier to generate, okay, citable, but ultimately kind of generic content, how does any brand actually stand out?
Exactly.
We have to shift from just the technical how to the strategic why, right?
Yeah.
Differentiation.
Differentiation has to be the core strategy now. The market's just saturated with, well, noise. You can't win by just saying you have great service or innovative solutions.
Right, everyone says that.
Everyone says that. They're table stakes. They're forgotten instantly.
So what's the actual process then? How do you find those like 3 magic, memorable differentiators?
It takes a pretty brutal internal look, honestly. You get a cross-functional team together, you talk to your most loyal customers, really listen to them, and list out everything you think makes you different. Then you have to be ruthless. Cut anything that's common or expected or easily copied by competitors. You need to boil it down to maybe 3 things that are truly memorable, and then embed those consistently everywhere. Sales pitches, website copy, every piece of content.
The brands that really nail this often seem to embrace this kind of radical authenticity, right? The anti-brand thing, often tied right to their mission.
That's spot on. I mean, look at Patagonia. They literally restructured their whole $3 billion company so that basically all the profits go to fund environmental causes through something called the Holdfast Collective.
Holdfast Collective?
Yeah, it owns 98% of the non-voting stock.
Okay, that sounds like heavy corporate finance talk. What does non-voting stock actually mean for, the average person buying a jacket?
Good question. It basically means the founder gave up control over the profits to the environmental cause.
Wow.
But kept control of the voting stock to make sure the company stays true to its mission. It's like a legal lock committing the company to environmentalism forever.
Okay.
And because that action was so radical, so verifiable, they earned enormous trust. And they can charge a premium because buying their stuff feels like directly supporting climate action.
And then on the other end, maybe more esoteric, you have teenage engineering. They seem to run entirely on emotion and design.
Yeah. They built this multi-million-dollar business just targeting design nerds, basically, valuing the emotional kick and the unique look over just tech specs. Their success isn't from huge ad campaigns. It's from being truly distinct and letting their community kind of create the buzz organically. They sell a feeling and experience, not just a feature list.
Speaking of feelings, that leads us right into neurobranding. Marketing that taps into how our brains actually work. If you want real brand preference, you got to play by neuroscience rules, apparently.
Yeah, there are kind of 3 core ideas here. First one is immersion.
Immersion.
Yeah, making every interaction really rich, sensory, emotional. Think about like the specific smell of an Apple store.
Oh, yeah.
Or that satisfying feeling of unboxing a really high-end product. You're engaging the customer's body, not just their rational mind.
Right, making it physical. Okay, what's number 2?
That's neural coupling. This is all about storytelling, but specifically stories that mirror the customer's own identity back at them.
How so?
So you don't just sell a running shoe, you tell a story about the dedication, the self-improvement of an athlete. The customer sees themselves in that story. It builds loyalty because it affirms who they feel they are or want to be.
So less about the product's features, more about the identity of the person using it. Makes sense. And the third mechanic.
Subconscious priming. This one's simpler, really. It's just persistent repetition, a distinct color, a unique sound, a specific phrase used over and over.
Like a jingle or a logo color.
Exactly. Over time, that repetition literally wires a strong emotional shortcut in the brain. You hear the jingle, see the color, and bam, instant recognition and feeling.
That's fascinating, that deeper strategy stuff. Okay, let's switch gears now to some really specific tactical things that people can maybe use right away, starting with video ads. We're making them way too long.
Dramatically too long, yeah. Studies are showing video ads under 10 seconds. They got 3 times more engagement on Facebook.
3 times.
Yeah. And on TV, up to 40% more website traffic compared to longer ads. It's just attention spans are shot. You have a blink. You got to use it wisely.
That's huge, especially with production costs. And the timing within that tiny window matters a lot, too.
It really does. Just mentioning the brand early, ideally, like first 3 seconds boost traffic by over 34% compared to saving it for the end.
Makes sense. If you paid for 10 seconds, make sure they know who you are immediately.
Exactly. Don't bury the lead.
Okay, let's pivot to B2B. There was this really simple LinkedIn content formula that apparently generated real pipeline fast.
Oh, yeah. This is a beautiful case study in strategic simplicity. It was basically text-only posts, around 300 words, super easy to read on a phone.
Okay.
And for one company, it generated $10,000 in pipeline in just 8 days.
Wow. And the magic wasn't fancy graphics or anything. It was the language itself, right?
Absolutely. The structure was methodical. Hook, symptoms, name the problem, offer the solution, show proof, call to action. Simple enough.
The key.
The real leverage was using actual customer language, like verbatim phrases they pulled using AI to analyze sales call transcripts.
Right.
So they weren't just talking to customers, they were talking like their customers, hitting those exact pain points with the words the customers themselves used.
That same idea of relevance and timing applies to email, too. You found something surprising about post-purchase emails.
Yeah, a lot of brands shoot themselves in the foot, basically. They send review requests way too soon, like often before the customers even had a chance to properly use the product.
Right, happens all the time. Creates an immediate disconnect.
Totally.
So how do you time it better?
You got to use your fulfillment data. For example, if someone buys, say, 3 different sizes of the same shirt.
Yeah, high chance of a return there.
Exactly. That's a clear signal they're likely to return some. So you need to hold off on that review request until the return window is closed, or until you know they've actually kept the item.
Okay.
That way, the request lands when it's relevant to their actual experience, making a positive response much more likely.
That's great. Super practical detail. Okay, final section. Let's talk high-level psychology driving spending and conversion, starting with this idea of the happy shopper.
Yeah, this is a neat piece of data, especially if you're marketing anything fun, basically.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, happier people spend more money than less happy people.
Okay, but where does that effect really show up?
It's most pronounced for things that are indulgent or discretionary. You know, stuff that's exciting, maybe a bit unnecessary.
Not for, like, buying washing powder.
Exactly. If you're marketing something super utilitarian, the correlation is actually lower. So the takeaway is selling non-essentials. Your campaign needs to focus on maximizing enjoyment, making the experience itself pleasurable, not just hitting practical points.
That kind of feels at odds, though, with what we see in B2B, where buying is supposedly easier now, but selling is getting harder.
Yeah, it's this weird disconnect. It seems to be driven by eroding trust. Buying big software or services might be simpler now, bigger budgets, fewer vendors maybe, but selling is tougher because, well, buyers are skeptical. Data shows 67% of buyers have actually ruled out a vendor because the proof or the evidence they presented just felt untrustworthy.
They're suspicious of the super polished, perfect case study.
Precisely. Especially younger buyers. They lean towards live references, authentic customer stories, things they can verify, more than those traditional, heavily edited case studies. Vendors need to provide proof that feels credible, human, and transparent.
Okay, finally, let's wrap with maybe the ultimate example of growth by just removing friction. WhatsApp's original sign-up strategy.
Oh, it was genius. They completely sidestepped the cold start problem, you know, how hard it is for new apps to get users initially.
Oh.
Pure simplicity. Instead of making you create usernames, passwords, build a profile from scratch, they just used your phone number as your ID.
Which instantly plugged you into your entire existing phone contact list. Your friends were already there, basically. No need to invite anyone.
Exactly. It just bypassed all that setup friction, smooth onboarding, instant network access. The result was just explosive growth. And a crazy engagement. They hit like 96% message open rates.
Wow, 96%.
Yeah, it blew emails average, like 20% out of the water. Because it just felt like a better version of texting, not some new service you had to learn.
So, okay, wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway here? We've gone from AI Workslop to the psychology of happy shoppers. The connecting thread seems to be pairing efficiency with, like, real connection.
I think that's right. If you zoom out, the old fragmented marketing playbook. It's just obsolete. Success now seems to hinge on, one, being radically authentic, whether that's anchoring your whole mission like Patagonia or building these emotion-first experiences like teenage engineering.
Right.
And then two, amplifying that authenticity with hyper-efficient, psychologically smart tactics. The 10-second videos, the perfectly timed emails, the frictionless onboarding like WhatsApp.
Okay, so here, a final thought to chew on. We've seen AI go from just writing content to actually being part of the buying process, right? Controlling checkouts, personalizing ads through chat.
Yeah, it's moving fast in that direction.
So if AI is increasingly making the recommendations, curating our options, maybe even making the purchase for us,
Yeah.
does traditional brand loyalty even survive? Or does our loyalty just shift entirely to the AI agent itself, the system that figures out what we need?
That is a really interesting question. There's definitely something to think about until next time.
Spoken Tech for your ears.